All right. Hello, YouTube. This is Kashuri Does, and I wanted to talk about a topic on biocentrism, and I really wanted to touch on the second part of biocentrism. His name is Robert Robert Lanza. I don't know, but what I really wanted to touch on is where he talks about the photons and particles of light and how they knew in advance what their distant twin would do in the future. And I think that's around the time he was talking about. That was around the 15 minute mark. But anyway, i really I really found that really interesting about the photons, the particles of light, and how they knew in advance and what their distant twin would do in the future. The thing about that, the thing why I think this is so awesome is because if you think about it, protons, photons, particles in that kind of world, they they don't have they don't respond to time like we do. Um photons have photons don't have to process information. They don't have to process information like human beings do. So it's like when you go out, you see people walk and you're processing all this information, I would say one info packet at a time, if you will. But when it comes to photons and these particles, if you would imagine if you could step inside the shoes of a photon, time would be very different. Actually, time wouldn't even exist. We use words like when he said particles of light knew in advance what their distant twin would do. See, would is a word that describes time, and future describes time. But to a photon, there would be no would or distant or future. It wouldn't even, if you were a photon, that wouldn't even be in your vocabulary because everything would happen now, you know. So if you were a photon and you heard people talking about, well, Mike was going to the store and he was going to get some groceries, and as a photon, you would be like, what the heck are they talking about? Mike has already got groceries and he's already at the store and he's already at home all at the same time, because protons can't perceive, time as human beings do. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm not disagreeing with he's saying. I'm really trying to wrap my head around uh his I don't want to call it a philosophy, but I'm trying to wrap my head around, his theory. I think it's pretty interesting. It does make a lot of sense in terms of when you add consciousness to the equation. But when you take consciousness out of the equation, it just leads to more questions. That's all I really wanted to talk about. This is just part one of this. I think maybe in my second video, I might elaborate a little bit more and talk about other things that he brought up. Like, there is no independent external universe outside of biological existence. So if we could imagine biological beings not existing, would there still be stars? Would there still be suns? Would there still be grass and trees and things like that? Of course there would. If there's grass and there's trees, there's animals. So maybe animals are a part of consciousness. Maybe animals have a sort of consciousness. So I guess where there's life, there must be consciousness. So I think what he's trying to say is that, not what he's trying to say, well, my take on it, I think existence and consciousness coexist. And I was thinking the other day, what came first? Existence or consciousness? That was my duality, the duality I was thinking in. But that was the duality I was thinking in. But I was trying to understand that there's really no time with that. I think consciousness and existence exist at the same time. And I was thinking along lines of time being linear. Like if you went back a billion years, would consciousness still be there? I think existence and consciousness has always existed. There's not like some point in time where it began, because there's no beginning. Consciousness and existence have always existed, even if you go way back. But that's just me thinking linear again. That's not how reality is. The way I think and how reality is two different things. And reality doesn't see time as some from A to B timeline. It's quite different. And I might touch up on this more in my second video. Well, this is it, YouTube. Kashori does. And stay tuned for my next video. Bye.